Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Indienomicon podcast. Today, we are lucky to be chatting with Sheena Fowler, CEO of Innovate Orlando. How are you today, Sheena?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Tell us about Innovate Orlando. What is its mission? What does it do? What do you do?
Yeah, so Innovate Orlando is an amazing opportunity for the Orlando region to have a chief storyteller to amplify the stories and all the good work that's happening here in Central Florida, as well as create tools and resources to unite our ecosystem together, making it easier for companies to find each other, to work together on projects, finding our larger businesses to be able to contract with some of our smaller businesses that are here, and making sure that we're creating the infrastructure to allow this economy to work faster and better together.
Wow, that's a cool mission to have. Let me ask you,
Yeah.
is it challenging? I know a lot of big metropolitan areas are all hyping up their resources and their people and their talent, and Innovate, and Orlando is among them. But oh man, Orlando has so much to offer. Is it challenging to educate people on what this region has to offer? Do you bump up against any misconceptions about what we have to offer and what we are?
Yeah, absolutely. Having spent 12 years in economic development with the Orlando Economic Partnership, that was my main focus. And I learned this work from that organization, where perception is our largest barrier. We understand that there is incredible work being here, but when you're in the business of helping companies expand here, and that's where I oversaw economic development for technology and innovation, as well as ran the film commission. So I saw this intersection of creativity and innovation and technology. I had to get people on the ground in Orlando. I had to have them spend time in our community for them to really understand what's here. And to steal a line from a previous predecessor of mine, Orlando is globally recognized but poorly understood. It's extraordinary to have the opportunity that anywhere in the world, people know Orlando. They understand that, they know what you're talking about in terms of where it is in the world. But they see us for one thing, and that's tourism, which is an extraordinary industry that we are incredibly fortunate to have in our back pocket. But what I want to make sure the world understands is that behind that tourism hospitality industry is this entire workforce of engineers and creatives that build the experiences and make that entire process and industry seamless. We have the companies now that are building the technologies to improve these industries, that are moving here and growing their teams here and understanding that they can tap into the engineering talent that has been doing this since the 60s. That's what we want to make sure the world understands, is that Orlando is this extraordinary workforce of engineers and creatives that make these different industries come to life. We power a lot of things, from whether it's the experience economy, hospitality and tourism, defense and simulation, medical, game development. All of these different industries are powered from this engineering workforce.
Well, in addition to communicating outward, you are also accomplishing the goal of uniting the community and bringing these different groups together. That must be exciting, to be a connector
It
for
is.
the community.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that's, I've been so fortunate to work in economic development here in Central Florida. I've got to know a lot of the different groups and understand who the leaders are and who's moving the needle. And we have so many different efforts like Indienomicon. I've been talking about Indienomicon for decades. It's such an amazing organization. But we have groups like Orlando Devs and Orlando Innovation League and all of these different meetups that have popped up and developed really amazing audiences that are meeting the needs of the people that want to gather in our community. So where Innovate Orlando is coming in as being an orchestrator and supporter of all of those groups. We created a collective impact leadership council that is gathering all of the folks that are leading these organizations to collaborate on calendars, resources, programming. And at the end of the year, we'll be able to publish a collective impact report that shows the work of all of these groups in our community, not just one at a time, but what are we doing as a force, working together, making sure that we have everything that we need to impact our community.
The opportunity here is so amazing. I guess at the core, I want to ask, what's the biggest commodity that Central Florida has to offer?
Our engineering community. This is when you look at the DNA of innovation in Orlando, we were really built off of moonshots and magic. In 1963, the Florida Technological University was created in Central Florida to support JFK's Apollo mission moonshot. This is where we developed the engineering team to train to take man to the moon. That university is now the University of Central Florida. So pre-Disney, this was really the first industry that we saw in Central Florida, was this aeronautical engineering talent pipeline for NASA. That is what we were built off of. Now, several years later, Disney flew over a swamp and built another engineering marvel with an interactive movie experience here in Central Florida, which was underdeveloped. It was not a popular decision, but he knew the power of a place that was centrally located in the state of Florida that could really serve as a launch pad. And that's what we've grown into. The folks that call Orlando home have this extraordinary ability to solve problems through engineering and creativity to power these different experiences, whether it be simulation or tourism or defense training, all of these different elements, but they solve it in a very unique way of this intersection of engineering and creativity. And to me, that is what embodies who Orlando is from an innovation standpoint.
That's wonderful. I questioned your point of view on how the Indienomicon organization fits into the big picture, and specifically like the game jams, in which
Yeah.
we're inviting people to participate and ideate and innovate. How do you see this fitting into the larger picture?
Absolutely. Well, certainly Indienomicon is part of this collective impact group, but for decades when I was in economic development, I would talk to folks that were in recruiting, whether it be organizations like Microsoft or smaller organizations that knew coming to these Indienomicon game jams was some of the best recruiting and game development that they could find in the Southeast. Now we look at what the point and purpose that we served with all the game jams was helping other industries understand how to tap into that talent pool. And when you look at everything from the health jam to the space jam to the armed forces jam, we created a vehicle that allowed industry that didn't understand how game development was relevant to them now very specifically in one weekend capture how they can tap into this power source of our engineering community.
So, one last question. How can individuals and organizations support and amplify the movement? How can they learn more? How can they get
Yeah.
involved?
Yeah, innovateorlando.io is our website, and on there we've launched new sponsorship models. We have everything from a completely free sponsorship layer where all we're asking is that you engage with the content, you share it on your channels, you engage with the events that are happening throughout the year, whether that be something from Innovate Orlando or from one of our partner organizations with the Collective Impact Group. We want to make sure that you're sharing and engaging in the community. And as long as that's happening and you're a small business or a startup, we want to make sure you can get in for free. But it's no, it's a truth that we have to pay for this work to be done. So there are other engagement models in which you can sponsor at higher levels to make sure that this work of telling the story of Orlando's innovation economy is happening and creating the tools and resources to better connect us gets funded and properly taken care of. So we're excited to welcome everyone into the fold. It is a completely new life based on a legacy of these organizations in Central Florida supporting tech and innovation. And the traction is kicking off this time. It's really exciting for Orlando to be part of this.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today. And would you tell us the website once again for Innovate Orlando, the URL?
Yes, it's innovateorlando.io.
All right, cool. So if you want to learn more about Innovate Orlando, go to innovateorlando.io. And if you want to know what's happening in the world of Indienomicon, you can go to lu.ma/Indienomicon and find the schedule for the rest of the year. There's a lot of good stuff happening, and you can be a part of it. I'm Jeff Hopkins. This has been the Indienomicon podcast. Thanks so much, Sheena Fowler. Hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you.